here with Coach Schoon, wide receivers coach here at Pine Tree. Coach, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
How's this media day going so far?
It's a little less stressful than last year, so it's not as hot. And
yeah,
kids seem to enjoy it better. So
yeah, for a coach, coaches hate picture day. That's the worst. Getting out uniforms and whatnot, it's the worst thing to do.
This is my first media day, so I'm having fun. I don't know what it's like to be outside. It's nice and air conditioned here.
We had the best day of full pad start, and then our worst day of media day. So it's a complete wash.
So, Coach, tell me a little bit about what you're excited about going into this season.
I guess you could say a new position. I've been quarterbacks the first, my last 7 years here. So I went to receivers this year, and so instead of coaching one guy, I'm coaching more. So there's, a quarterback being the most important position on the field, it's now instead of watching one guy to go watch three. So there could be, instead of just one mistake from one guy, there could be three mistakes. So now my eyes, I'm pretty excited to watch, more than one guy go to work on a Friday night and see what three guys can do versus just one. So that's what I'm excited about.
How's the shift going from being quarterbacks coach to wide receivers? Has there been a change in philosophy or anything for you as far as that goes?
Philosophy-wise, no. I guess you could say it's one of those things where when a guy that plays quarterback is a high-character kid, a guy that's very intelligent, very smart, a guy that's got to be a leader. With Pine Tree, you got a lot of guys that follow the track of that, but then at receiver-wise, you still got to have that one guy that's like that, and then guys that follow the footsteps of one guy leading the right path. So the transition's been, kind of this, not really different, has some similarities to it, but for the most part, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Coach Schoon, talk to me about, you talked about like how you were a quarterback coach for 7 years, and now you switched over to receivers here in your 8th. If I'm not mistaken, that would probably put you up there as either one of or the most years put in at Pine Tree out of this staff. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I think Coach Portley and I are the only ones. Coach Portley was a junior high coordinator last year. Now he's up here at the high school, but we're the ones that came with Coach Lane in 2016, and we're the ones that are still here. So
what kind of, talk to me about like what kind of keeps you here. I mean, you don't just have to talk about football-wise. I mean, we can start there and just expand on, but, to stay in a place for more than 5 years, it has to either be special to you or it's just special in general. Talk to me about that.
Oh, no, it starts from the top. If you trust the guys that are above you, that, there's no reason to look for somewhere else to go. So, from superintendent to athletic director to Coach Bach being the head football coach, if you don't trust those guys, and, to me, my dad used to always taught me that if the guy above you don't trust, then it's time for you to get out. And if the guy above you doesn't trust you, then he needs to tell you to get out. And so, it's pretty unique. Coach Rocha is a part of it a lot of times, a group text of let's go play golf here and there, and Coach Rocha is not associated with coaching football, but, being the head soccer coach and so forth, you can text him, text Mr. Eggerman, text Coach Krause, who's a high school principal. It's a family atmosphere here, and it's not a job. It's something that you look forward to every day to coming to work. It's, we teach our kids all the time, if you wake up dreading to come here, you're going to have a crappy day. And same thing with the coaching side. If you're not looking forward and love your job and love being at Pine Tree, then it defeats the purpose of the duty that you have to go do.
Yeah, I definitely feel that, and I definitely agree with all of that. It's just awesome to hear you say some of the same things I've been thinking about. Talk to me about a little bit about, you've been into, being here for so long. You've seen the transition between, superintendents, athletic directors, head coaches. You're going into the second year under Coach Bachman after being under Coach Lane for so long. In the second year, what are you looking forward to the most as far as, growth and strength and whatnot?
For me, it's, there's no time just to be stale. You got to, from being here in 16 to now, I learn new things every day, every week, just like a kid would, and I think that's the same thing Coach Bach preaches to the kids and to the staff. Yes, he is the head coach, but, there's never a day that where you think you know it all. So I think going in towards, the 2023-2024 season, I think, just learning every day and knowing what's going on and, and having an idea of, don't ever be satisfied, and that's, same thing for me, same thing for my wife, my family, and, and the kids that you coach. If those guys just want to be satisfied, then you're not going to take that next step. And I think that's, pretty unique about Pine Tree and how things go here.
Speaking of the kids you coach, we are going to be minus Jonathan Fuller this year, and he was a tremendous wide receiver the last couple of years for the Pirates. But Who are some names that we should be keeping an eye on, and who are we going to be? What names are we going to be calling a lot this year?
I think the unique thing about the guys that I have this year, I'm a big thing about quality over quantity. Like, I'd rather have a handful of guys that love you and I love them, and they'll go do their job and they'll trust me just like I trust them. And then versus, Jonathan Fuller was a great receiver, but all eyes are on him. So if you're going to hear Jordan Taylor, you're going to hear Trey Brown, you're going to hear Dean McMillan, you're going to hear Brandon Smith, you're going to hear 4 names called this year to where they're all solid kids. They all know the game very well. And when it comes to a guy, not me, but if I was a defensive coach, I can hone in on Jonathan Fuller and stop him. I can stop one guy to stop everything else. Now, hopefully I've done a good enough job, and the receivers, like I said, trust me to, I've taught them the things, the tools that they need to know, to where now eyes aren't just on one guy. There's 2, there's 3, there's possibly 4 guys out there playing receiver that can go get the job done.
Where have you been working with your receivers? Like, what's been some of the emphasis for you?
Physicality.
Physicality.
Just because you play receiver, you're not a pretty boy. It's okay to be physical. It's okay to throw them down, hit them out of the way, whatever you got to do to get your butt open, because they're a defensive side of guys. They're teaching their guys the same thing, like get your hands on them, be physical. So if I'm not teaching those things, then they're going to take us where we don't want to go.
Yeah. Well, physicality is a big part of playing out there on the edge, and a lot of times you can spur some big running plays if you can go out correctly out there.
And Coach Bach's a run guy first, so I told him every day in meetings, if you guys want the football, you better show us that we can throw it, we can catch it, because Coach Bach's number one thing is running the ball, and so he'll take 2 receivers off the field and leave 1, and we'll run the football. So if we want the football, then you better show us in practice that you can do it.
So tell us a little bit about how do you keep wide receivers pumped up, though, knowing that you're going into the season, knowing you're going to be running the ball a lot?
I think it's a trust thing. Like I said earlier, they got to trust that, the outside receiver over here has to trust the right tackle over here on the opposite side is going to do his job. And when those guys trust each other, then every offensive scheme that we have is all family together. So just because we can run the ball on this play, we can also pass the ball on this play. And it's like I said, it's a trust thing. So hopefully that, as a receivers coach, that, like I said, those guys will trust me and then trust Coach Bach when he calls their number, because when their number gets called, if they don't go make the play, it'd be hard for me if I was the play caller to make the same call for the guy to go make that play now. So when your number's called, go make a play and, give your best effort. Things, for the most part, sometimes things aren't going to go good. And when things aren't going to go good, how are you going to respond to that? And if you respond in a good way, your number might get called again. So,
kind of rounding this out, Coach, last question for me at least. You've been in this profession for how long, for coaching-wise?
Started here.
Here.
8 years, whatever it is. Started 8.
So you've been coaching for 8 years. I know you played quarterback at Harmony.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking to one of the few guys at Harmony that ever beat Tatum. That's their claim to fame right there. Claim to fame. Back then it was their claim to fame that they beat Tatum, and Tatum was pretty good that year. So we always have an inside joke about that. But yeah, you played quarterback at Harmony. You went and played a little bit of college ball,
mm-hmm.
and you're coaching and whatnot. Tell me how do you feel every Friday night? I mean, Friday nights, in Texas are things of legend, things of, storybook.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel, just for so long being a part of the Friday night experience?
It's a good experience, back from playing in high school, and then coming into the coaching world. The world has changed, but it's Friday nights haven't.
Yes.
There's
awesome.
It doesn't matter, what's going on, here, there, wherever. Like, when it comes Friday night, Longview is a big town, but Pine Tree's a small town kind of in Longview. So, it's, I guess the easiest way to say it, the world changes, but Friday nights don't. Friday night is Friday night. Like, let's shut the town down and let's go to work. You see it a lot. You saw it in the Kenny Chesney music video, Boys of Fall. You see closed signs on, on businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You see, we're headed to so-and-so to go see the game and so forth. I think, like I said, just because the world is changing doesn't mean Friday nights are, and they haven't changed. From when I was in high school to now, Friday nights in Texas is for football, period.
Yeah, man, you can take that and start a book on it.
Dude,
That's awesome. I'm pumped up.
Yeah, is the 25th here yet? Like, every time we talk to these coaches, man, I'm like ready. Like, can I get some pads, a helmet? Can I get back out on the field?
It's easy to see why our guys, when we do the player interviews, why they're so pumped up. We got guys like this that give a day in and day out. This is what they're hearing. So I can see why our guys are very excited for the season. So,
Coach Schoon, last question for me. Do you have any games circled on the calendar
for
this season? Any particular games that stick out to you that want to get that W?
Shoot, all of them for sure. I think it's going to start with Henderson in the scrimmage, and then we're going to take it to Gilmer just like we did last year. There's kind of some grudge in between there. We love those guys over there, but when the ball's spotted, we're not friends. Like it's time to go to work. Afterward, we can shake hands and tell each other we love each other, but it's when the ball's spotted, my enemy's across the field. That's every game. That's week 0 to week 10, and hopefully it's 11 through 16 we can play on. But no, they're all 11. They're all 10. They're all circled. So
awesome.
Well, we're gonna hope for more than that as well, Coach. So
yeah,
man, good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.